Wind chills dropping to 60 degrees below zero, power grids on edge, and a storm system unlike anything we've seen in years is gathering strength right now. What's about to happen across the southern United States could shut down entire cities for days. But here is what almost nobody is talking about yet. Three ingredients are colliding at this exact moment: Arctic air, Gulf moisture, and the most dangerous element of all, time. When these three forces meet over Texas this Friday, the result could be catastrophic, but I'm getting ahead of myself. In the next 25 minutes, you're going to discover exactly which states are in the crosshairs, why this storm is different from typical winter weather, and most importantly, the specific timeline you need to know if you live anywhere from Dallas to Virginia. And stick around, because at the 5-minute mark, I am revealing the one thing that determines whether your area gets 2 inches or 12 inches of snow. Right now, as I am recording this, temperatures across Minnesota and Wisconsin are about to feel like 50 degrees below zero, not the actual temperature, the wind chill, the feel. Step outside without proper layers and frostbite begins in minutes. Not hours, minutes. But here's the twist. This isn't the main story. That Arctic blast you are hearing about, it is just ingredient number 1, and it's already on the move, racing south faster than most people realize. By Thursday, this mass of frigid air will be sitting over the northern plains. By Friday morning, it reaches Texas. And that's when things get interesting. Because while that's happening, ingredient number 2 is pushing north from the Gulf of Mexico. An unusual surge of moisture. Exceptionally high levels, the kind of moisture that typically doesn't align with Arctic air masses. But this time, it is. Now let me ask you something. What happens when you take the coldest air of the season and slam it into record moisture levels? You're about to find out. But first, there's ingredient number 3, time. Most winter storms race through in 12 to 18 hours. They dump snow, move on, and you re-shoveling by Sunday morning, but not this one. Computer models are showing something alarming. This boundary, this line where Arctic air meets Gulf moisture, it's going to slow down, maybe even stall completely. That means instead of 12 hours of snow, we could be looking at 36 to 48 hours of continuous precipitation across the same areas. Ice accumulation, power outages, roads that become impassable not just for a day, but for multiple days. And here's where it gets personal. If you live in Dallas, Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, or anywhere along this corridor stretching to Virginia, your weekend plans are about to change dramatically. Let me show you what's already happening right now. Today, Monday, there is a lake effect snow event underway in Michigan and New York. We're talking 3 to 6 feet of snow near Watertown, New York over the next 48 hours. 3 to 6 feet. That's not a typo, but that's the warm-up act. Tuesday and Wednesday, a weak system crosses the Midwest. Light snow, nothing major. An inch or 2 at most. Businesses stay open. Schools run normally. Everyone thinks winter is behaving itself. Then Thursday night changes everything. The Arctic Express arrives. Temperatures crash. And by Friday morning, the battle lines are drawn. Cold air from Canada, warm moisture from the Gulf, and a frontal boundary that stretches from West Texas all the way to the Atlantic coast. Now, remember that promise I made at the beginning? The one thing that determines who gets buried and who gets missed? Here it is. Pay attention, because this is crucial. It's not the cold air, it's not the moisture, it's the high-pressure system sitting over the northern plains. This high pressure acts like a ceiling, a cap. It suppresses some of the heavier precipitation by forcing sinking air down onto rising moisture. What does that mean in plain English? Instead of 18 inches of snow in one spot, you might see 4 to 6 inches spread over a much wider area. Instead of crippling snowfall in one city, you get moderate impacts across a dozen states. But here's the catch, and this is the plot twist nobody saw coming. That same high-pressure system is going to be extraordinarily strong enough to keep that frontal boundary locked in place for days. So yes, totals might be lower per hour, but multiply that by 48 hours instead of 12, and suddenly you rewrite back to significant accumulation. Let me break down the timeline, hour by hour, so you know exactly what to expect. This is the Don T. Miss This Part section. Friday morning, 6 a.m., light snow begins across the Texas Panhandle. Amarillo sees the first flakes. Nothing heavy yet. Roads are still drivable. But temperatures are dropping fast. 32 degrees, 28, 24. By 8 a.m., everything that was wet is now frozen. Friday noon. The snow line has expanded. Oklahoma City is now in the mix. Light to moderate snowfall. Meanwhile, further south, Dallas is seeing something different. It's not snow, not yet. It's freezing rain. And if you've ever experienced freezing rain, you know this is worse than snow. Ice coating everything. Power lines, tree branches, roads become skating rinks. Friday, 6 p.m. The storm has exploded in size. What started in the Texas Panhandle now stretches from New Mexico to Tennessee. Arkansas is getting hammered. Little Rock reports 3 inches of snow already with another 20 hours to go. And remember, these are areas without massive fleets of snowplows, without road salt stockpiles. 3 inches in Little Rock might as well be a foot in Chicago. Friday midnight. The storm is now a sprawling mess of snow, sleet, and freezing rain covering 12 states. And it's not moving. Models show the system barely creeping eastward. Some forecasters are starting to use words like historic and crippling. Saturday morning, 6 a.m. This is when the southeast starts to feel the full impact. Northern Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Snow in Atlanta is always chaos, but this time it's not just snow. It's ice underneath. The worst possible combination. Saturday afternoon, the system is still going, still producing. Pennsylvania is now involved, Virginia, the Carolinas. A continuous swath of winter weather from Texas to the Atlantic, all at the same time, and here's what makes meteorologists nervous. Computer models, the sophisticated tools we use to predict weather, they are not in perfect agreement. The European model shows one scenario, the American GFS model shows another. But here's what they do agree on. Something significant is going to happen Friday and Saturday, something that will affect a massive area, something that will likely cause major disruptions. Let me show you the ranges we're looking at right now. And remember, these numbers will change. They always do. We're still 4 days out. But this gives you an idea of the potential. Oklahoma and Kansas, 4 to 8 inches of snow, maybe more in localized bands. Texas Panhandle, 3 to 6 inches. But with blowing snow and wind chills near zero, visibility drops to nothing. You can drive in that even if the snow depth isn't terrible. Little Rock, Arkansas, 2 to 5 inches of snow on top of ice. That is the key phrase, on top of ice. Ice accumulation could reach a 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch of ice is enough to bring down power lines and snap tree branches. Memphis, Tennessee. Similar story. 3 to 6 inches of snow, ice underneath. The city could be paralyzed. Dallas, Fort Worth. This is the wild card. Models can decide. Some show mostly rain, some show a changeover to sleet and freezing rain, some show actual snow. The difference between these scenarios is enormous. Rain, annoying but manageable. Freezing rain, dangerous. Snow, potentially devastating for an area not equipped to handle it. Nashville, 2 to 4 inches possible. Again, for a southern city, that is enough to shut things down. Northern Mississippi, Alabama, 1 to 3 inches. But remember the ice factor. Georgia, South Carolina. The coastal areas probably stay too warm. But northern Georgia, possibly 1 to 3 inches. North Carolina, Virginia, 3 to 6 inches across interior sections. The mountains could see even more. Now let me address the big question everyone is asking. How confident are we? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being absolute certainty, I'd put the confidence that a significant winter storm will impact the South at an 8. High confidence that something happens. The uncertainty is in the details. Exactly where, exactly how much. Snow versus ice versus a mix. But here's why confidence is so high. It's not just one model, it's ensemble models. Think of ensembles as running the same forecast 51 different times with slightly different starting conditions. If 45 out of 51 runs show a major winter storm, that's strong agreement. And that's what we're seeing. Over 70% of ensemble members show at least 1 inch of snow from Oklahoma to Virginia. 70%. That's substantial. Yesterday, those same ensemble members showed only 10 to 20% odds. In 24 hours, we've gone from maybe something to very likely something significant. That is a big jump, and that jump is what has every meteorologist from Texas to Virginia on high alert right now. Let me tell you what I'm watching most closely over the next 48 hours, because these are the factors that will determine if this is a manageable inconvenience or a genuine crisis. Number 1, the track of the low-pressure center. If it stays further south, more warm air gets pulled in. That means more ice, less snow. If it tracks further north, colder air dominates. More snow, less ice. Right now, models are split. Number 2, the speed of the system. Slow equals bad, not in terms of immediate impact, but in terms of duration. A slow-moving storm drops more total precipitation, period. Number 3, the exact position of the 32-degree line, the freezing line. In winter storms across the South, the difference between 33 degrees and 31 degrees is the difference between rain and catastrophe. And that line shifts, sometimes hour by hour. Here's something crucial that's going to happen over the next 36 hours. By Wednesday morning, we'll have much better clarity. The models will converge. We'll know if Dallas is really in trouble or if it stays mostly rain. We'll know if Arkansas is looking at 6 inches or 12. We'll know if the Southeast gets clipped or completely buried. But you can wait until Wednesday to prepare, especially if you are in the target zone. So let me give you the practical advice right now, the stuff you can actually use. If you live anywhere from Texas to Virginia, and especially if you are in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, or northern Alabama, here is your checklist. Check your supplies today. Not Thursday, not Friday morning, today. Flashlights, batteries, non-perishable food, water, medications, pet food if you have animals. Assume you might not leave your house for 2 to 3 days. Charge everything, your phone, your laptop, your backup batteries, your portable chargers. If power goes out, and there's a real chance it will in some areas, you want to be able to communicate. Fill your gas tank. Even if you're not planning to drive Friday or Saturday, fill it now. If the storm is worse than expected, gas stations lose power, pumps don't work, and you are stuck. Get cash. If power goes out, credit card machines don't work. ATMs don't work. Have some cash on hand. Check on your neighbors, especially elderly neighbors. Make sure they know what's coming. Offer to help them prepare. If you have outdoor animals, bring them in or make sure they have adequate shelter. Trim any dead branches near your house or power lines if you have time. Ice loading can snap branches that then take down power lines. Download offline maps if you do need to travel. GPS works, but it needs data. Download your area for offline use. Now, I know some of you are thinking, aren't you overreacting? Maybe, but here's my philosophy on winter weather in the South. It's not about the snow totals, it's about the infrastructure. Minnesota can handle a foot of snow without blinking. They have plows, they have salt, they have practice. Dallas with 4 inches, that's a different story. No plow fleet, limited salt supplies, drivers with no experience on ice. Add in the ice factor, the potential for power outages, and the duration of this event, and you have a recipe for a genuine emergency in some locations. Let me tell you about February 2021. You might remember it, the Texas freeze. Not quite the same setup, but similar in that Arctic air plunged deep into the South. The power grid failed. People died. It was a disaster. Now, I'm not saying this storm will be that bad. Different time of year, different circumstances. But it's a reminder that southern winter storms can be deadly serious because of the infrastructure vulnerability. And here's another twist I haven't mentioned yet. This is happening during a weekend. That's actually worse than a weekday in some ways. Road crews are on reduced staff, government offices are closed, response times are slower, but it also means schools aren't in session. People aren't commuting to work. So at least there's that, okay, we at the 18-minute mark and I want to shift gears slightly. Let me tell you what happens after the storm. Because that's almost as important as the storm itself. Let us say the worst case scenario happens. 8 inches of snow across Oklahoma and Arkansas. A 1/4 inch of ice in Texas. Widespread power outages. What comes next? Saturday night into Sunday, the storm finally begins to move away. But the cold air, that sticks around. Temperatures stay below freezing. Nothing melts. That snow and ice are there for days. Sunday and Monday, cleanup begins, but it's slow. Again, limited equipment in southern states. Roads get cleared eventually, but secondary roads might take 2 to 3 days. Rural areas, even longer. Power restoration. If we do see significant ice accumulation, power outages could last 3 to 5 days in some areas. That's the harsh reality of ice storms. Crews have to physically repair lines, in cold weather, across huge areas. It takes time. Economic impact. When major cities shut down for multiple days, the economic hit is substantial. Flights canceled, businesses closed, supply chains disrupted. This isn't just a weather event, it's an economic event. And here's the question I keep coming back to. Why is this storm system so different? Why all the concern? 3 reasons. First, the timing. It's mid-January. We read deep enough into winter that Arctic air is readily available. But we also have enough thermal contrast between north and south to create vigorous weather systems. Second, the moisture. Gulf moisture in January isn't that unusual, but the amounts we seeing, the surge we are seeing, that is unusual. It's more typical of a spring setup. Third, the blocking pattern. That high pressure over the northern plains that I mentioned earlier, it's a part of a larger pattern that is essentially locking weather systems in place. This isn't just affecting this storm. It's been affecting weather patterns for the last 2 weeks, and it's not going away soon. Put all 3 together, and you get a storm that meteorologists call high impact, not necessarily historic snowfall totals, but historic in terms of where it's happening, how long it lasts, and how many people it affects. Now, before we wrap up, I want to set expectations for the next few days because there's going to be a lot of information flying around. Social media will be full of wild predictions. Local news will be covering it nonstop. And some of what you see will be helpful. Some will be hype. Here's how to filter the noise. Trust official sources. National Weather Service. Your local emergency management, established weather services. Be skeptical of random social media posts claiming 20 inches of snow everywhere. Understand that forecasts will change. If Tuesday's forecast looks different from Monday's, that's normal. Models update, we get new data, forecasts evolve, get locked into one specific number and then feel betrayed if it changes. Focus on the overall message. Even if we are not sure if you'll get 3 inches or 6 inches, the message is the same. Winter weather is coming. Be prepared. Watch for winter storm watches and warnings. A watch means conditions are possible. Start preparing. A warning means conditions are expected or already occurring. Execute your plan. And remember, just because your specific town might only get 2 inches doesn't mean you can ignore this. Roads 20 miles away might be impassable. If your job is 30 miles away, can you get there safely? Probably not. So here's what I am going to be doing over the next few days and what you should watch for. Tonight, Monday night, I'll be reviewing the latest model runs. We get new data every 6 hours. Each run gives us more clarity. Tuesday morning, if trends continue, I'll have another update showing refined snowfall totals and timing. Wednesday, that is the critical day. By Wednesday afternoon, we should have very high confidence in who's getting what. That's when I can give you specific numbers for specific cities. Thursday, last-minute updates. Timeline adjustments, any surprises in the data. Friday, live coverage as the storm unfolds. Real-time updates on what's actually happening versus what was predicted. One more thing before we finish. Drop a comment below with your city and state. Tell me where you're watching from. And over the next few days, I'll try to provide specific updates for as many locations as possible in the comment section. That way you get personalized information for your exact area. Here's the bottom line. This storm is real. It's coming. And it has the potential to be the most significant winter weather event of the season for the southern United States. Is it guaranteed to be catastrophic? No. Could it turn out to be less than expected? Absolutely. Weather is complicated. Predictions this far out always have uncertainty, but the smart play here is to take it seriously without panicking. Prepare like it's going to be bad. Hope it's not. That's the balance. And remember, the goal isn't to scare you. The goal is to inform you so you can make good decisions for yourself and your family. Over the next 48 hours, this forecast will become much clearer. We'll know more. We'll be able to give you better numbers, more specific timing. But the overall pattern isn't going to change. Arctic air, Gulf moisture, a boundary that stalls, that's happening. So subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications, because over the next week, there's going to be multiple updates. Maybe even live streams if this storm evolves the way models suggest. I want you to be informed. I want you to be prepared, and I want you to stay safe. This is a developing situation. Check back for updates. And seriously, comment below with your location. Let us build a community here where we can share information and help each other get through this winter storm together. The most important updates are coming Wednesday. That's when we all know which cities are really in trouble and which ones dodge the bullet. Don't miss those updates. They could literally determine whether your weekend is slightly inconvenient or genuinely dangerous. Winter weather in the South is always tricky, but this setup is particularly challenging. Stay weather aware, be smart, and we'll get through this together. Final thought. In the next video, I am going to break down the power outage risk specifically, which areas are most vulnerable, how long outages might last, and what you can do right now to prepare for potentially being without electricity for several days. That critical information you need, especially if you rely on electric heat. Stay safe out there, stay warm, and I'll see you in